Greetings, lords and ladies. Welcome to another edition of Ask America Anything. We've got our chai. Get some chai and curl up and
curl up and
watch some videos and talk some stuff. Coffee cup I got from Melissa.
Yes, it's a Florida tourist from a gas station.
On the way down to Disney World. Out around there's all those tourist traps and stuff like that. And so this has got to be the gaudiest mug ever made. But it's Mel, so.
There you go.
Aren't you happy?
I have Cape May, where my grandparents live, so this is where I went.
So you're saying Delaware is more classy than Florida? Is that what you're saying?
No, this is New Jersey.
Oh, I'm right.
It's all Victorian homes. It's super cute.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
it's more classy. East Coast is always more classy than Florida.
Whoa.
Just telling you.
Fighting. All right, so we've got quite a few links. We still haven't gotten our Shashi Tharoor response. A lot of sickness.
Everybody's
last
sick.
week.
I was the only one who made it through last week not sick.
So Rohan had pink eye, then he got sore throat, cough. Dad had pneumonia. He was in the hospital. It's been
Me
bad.
and Satya had fever, something.
All right, let's dive in. So starting on the Indie Connection subreddit, we've got a video here. Let's see what we got. Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean theme Indian version by Tushar Dalal and the India Jam Project.
That's fun.
Their ability to keep those in tune absolutely amazes me as a violinist. Like that's just very impressive to keep the tone and the intonation.
That's super fun.
That's just fantastic.
That's great.
4.3 million views. Well deserved.
As it should have.
Is he really getting the sound out of that Bansuri? It's like
Yeah.
it's like such a small one. It's like the kind that you buy on the side of the street.
No.
Yeah, and this guy on the
Doesn't sound like
sarangi
it
is good. Jeez.
I like how they kept adding instruments in because I kind of just thought it was going to be those two.
Yeah, just perfection.
No, yeah, I
Perfection.
like it. It's great.
Wow. All right, he's got some skills. All right.
Super fun.
2 thumbs up for that one. Thoughts on free speech from Oname? Oname 1. The U.S. is probably the last bastion of true free speech due to constitutional protections. Hate speech laws have crept into most large democracies, including India. I am one of those people who believes that free speech is fundamental to having certain freedoms. I think with the internet, these things are getting better. And there's going to be more fights about this. I don't think we'll ever stop fighting about this, but I'm on the side of pushing for free speech no matter what the speech is.
Yeah.
Even if I
feel
fundamentally
like
disagree with it.
These days in America, there's lots of speech shaming. Yeah, you have your freedom to speech. It's now, they're just going to blast you across the internet and shame you if you say what you think. That happens a lot. So I feel like sometimes people are feeling the pressure to either, even if they don't agree with it, go along with whatever's the popular thought for the day.
Yeah, there's the trial by
Always.
public opinion,
Yeah.
that always seems to happen.
Which is unfortunate because I feel like it doesn't, right? Free speech is supposed to lead to debate. Debate is a good thing.
Right. And so, yeah, I do think there's still hope. No, you're not done for. India's not done for. I mean, there are many fights to be made. We've all heard about these bad things that have happened with FIRs and, people on Facebook getting put in jail for stuff that they've said. These are just growing pains of fighting for free speech.
And feel free to type something, comment on this.
All right, Zakir Khan.
In real life, you wouldn't do it.
Well,
this
yeah,
way,
Cubby Ghana,
right?
Cubby Logic.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Oh,
are you ready for this?
Man.
2 million views. Wow. There he is.
Whoa.
So Melissa got one joke. I got none. I find his voice very soothing, though. But
Yeah.
I did not understand.
I couldn't understand most of what he was saying.
Man, we are out of practice. We failed miserably on that. We'll keep trying. We just need to include this in our weekly regimen.
Yeah.
We need to do this. Maybe we should, before we go to bed, before we read, in addition to our H3 watching, we have to watch one Hindi language something.
There you go.
Get back into the swing.
I don't know. I didn't follow that very well.
Yeah, so we did terrible. Abhimanyu R on the Indie Connection subreddit says, big dream project forward by. I have something in mind for months and I want to share it with you now. He goes on to suggest doing Mahabharata Ramayan with paper pals. So I think that is, again, one of these good ideas that we kind of we teased that idea out in one of our American Indian episodes.
I love paper pals. It's a good idea. So maybe one day.
Chirotar Guy says, great videos, but why of all places India instead of Thailand, Sri Lanka, Caribbean, South Africa? Could have gone to North Korea for all places. So the questions I asked, why just India?
No.
All right, so why India, Melissa?
Oh man, we've made several videos that explain this.
For me, I took a world religions class, and I read the chapter on Hinduism. Just fascinated me. Yeah, ultimately for me, it was the philosophy and just a very different way of looking at the world. And it has altered the way I see the world. Someone else asked in the question, how has it changed your life since coming back to the U.S.? Well,
anytime you truly live, not visit, live in another culture, it's going to change you when you go back to your home culture.
Right.
No matter if you're an Indian living in America and going back, it just makes you notice things when you come back to your home culture. You're like, oh, it makes you stop and think because now you have a broader perspective. He did in college, he did a summer internship in India.
right.
And I had a couple best friends in high school who, of course, were Americans, but their parents were Indian, had moved over, so they were first-generation Americans. So India had always just kind of intrigued me. Mine was very shallow, like, ooh, India sounds fun. He actually had spent time there, and so that was kind of the goal. Ever since college, we were like, yeah, India's the goal.
And yeah, my first trip to India, I talked about this a little bit, but I went over with definite more of I'm going to go over and help people mindset, and I had some just very humbling experiences while there, and it did just change the way I looked at things, and I've never fully recovered or been able to synthesize those things necessarily. I think some people who go over, they'll have this experience and they come back and then they, can, I don't know, apply that to their lives or whatever. I mean, you think about a lot of these, hippie stories about like the Beatles or Steve Jobs and people like that. For me, it hasn't been that concrete, but I think in the long run, yeah, I mean, that's why we want to keep this conversation going, because we don't think, I honestly feel like cultures are attempts at uncovering reality, and so every culture is uncovering some part of it, and we don't have all the pieces, and we kind of need, I mean, that comes back to, spoiler alert, but The Arrival, the aliens give all the people different pieces of this puzzle, and they have to learn to communicate together in order to put those pieces together, and there's a competitive aspect to human nature that we just don't want to admit, that we don't have the full picture. So for me, I have seen parts of reality that I can't explain from a Western perspective. And so I'm trying to uncover those, and that's what this conversation I think is about, get to fuller understanding what reality actually looks like.
Our 5 years in India was a great life experience, and I would not trade those 5 years for anything. Those 5 years haven't necessarily meant that we come back here and use that as a building block to some big new thing here. No.
Right.
Actually, we have no clue what we're doing. But it was awesome, and I loved it, and wouldn't trade it for the world.
Sridhal Ford, I've seen many family and friends freak out when they spend their money in the U.S. when they make a trip. My question is, what was your initial reaction when you started spending in form of U.S. dollars in U.S. after living and spending rupees in India?
So you do have kind of like an initial like freak out when you get back, like, oh, and you got to change that mindset. It would happen when we would go from India to Thailand, even. Because you'd start spending stuff in Thai baht, and you're like, wait a second, I spent a lot more for that than I realized I was. Oops.
Yeah, so it does take some getting used to. Yeah, so Sridhal went on to say in another subreddit post, cross-culture, I think government of all countries should sponsor people of their country to other countries and vice versa, so that there will be a proper understanding among common people of the nation. And he emphasizes common people.
Yeah, because it's true, right?
I think that's
like
the problem.
Every nation, like all countries have embassies in other nations.
But they're not common people.
They're not, and they're not really, truly exploring, I don't know. I don't think they're doing it. If they are doing a job of cross-culturally trying to communicate and learn, they're not letting the common person back in America know that they're doing that.
Right. Well, it's just the same problem, and that we run into in so many areas of society where there is this split between the ivory tower and the people, the powers that be and the people in the field.
Yeah.
So I do feel like, no, that would be a great idea. Sometimes you see it with schools. What do you call that?
Yeah, you have exchange
students.
Yeah, and so that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know embassies, I think, really have room to grow and doing something like that.
just take working class people from different things and say, hey,
Yeah.
come, do this.
Yeah.
I know the military does that kind of stuff. Like the military has people do
They do.
training,
They do.
across, Indians work
Exchange
with Americans,
programs as
Americans
well.
work with Indians.
Yeah.
So, that would be, I think, pretty beneficial.
Because the problem is, okay, from what we saw in Delhi, you had embassies and then you had business, but both of those tend to cloister their people.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great friend, a Japanese friend, and her husband was doing business, and so she had a driver. Like, if you dropped her off at CP, she would have had a hard time getting herself home. Like, I knew how to get myself around the city, where she couldn't do that as the wife of a business person, because they are kind of cloistered more, I don't know,
right.
cushioned.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, it's like outside of NGOs or missions or like Peace Corps or the government or businesses, there really aren't these opportunities for people to have this experience, and that's why foreign exchange students is the best thing I can think of.
Yeah, it's the best thing I can think of. Yeah.
But it would be great if you could have working class people have that, because it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it just especially if you're just going there to experience it, not just going there to try to change something.
Yeah,
if
just
you're going there as a
experience it.
participant observer.
Well, when we make our first 3 million on YouTube, we'll start a program. We'll fund a program to do that.
There you go.
There's
All
my
right.
thumbs up.
It's a great point, though, Shrita.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, we're up to 104 readers now.
104 readers.
On
When
the
there's
subreddit?
150, I'll join in.
Just 46 more. Just spread the word. Get
Yep.
46 more people signed up, and Melissa will come and personally respond to these comments, because we're just not going to have time. I mean, if the links keep coming like this, we're not going to have time to respond to all of them every week, or else this will be a 2.5 hour
It'd be
video.
great. We can at least type some stuff out to you.
That's right. We can keep the conversation going that way. It's a little easier than to produce it. Safety in America by Siddharth 4089. I'm going to Missouri in spring this year for my master's. My family's pretty worried, having seen all the mass shootings on TV. Also feeling a little jittery. It might sound a bit crude, but is there anything you can do to avoid getting shot in random mass shootings?
I'm so sorry that you think this is like...
I'm seriously thinking of zero socializing outside my home.
No, don't do that.
All right,
Don't
so
do that.
here's the thing. America, 400 million people in this country, and it's enormous. It's over twice the size, geographically of India, very spread out. So you are hearing every single bad thing that happens in America. You hear it, because our journalism, the mode of operation of our journalism is, if it bleeds, it leads. So if there is blood anywhere, you're going to hear about it. If there's racism anywhere, you're going to hear about it. The thing about India, that's not necessarily true. Now, a lot of international agencies have done a really bad job by only focusing on the bad things in India. But just think about the fact that, the pollution in Delhi right now. It's killing as many people as are getting killed in these mass shootings. It is. That's a fact. People are dying. It's not as seen a killer, but it's killing people. That didn't keep us from going there. It keeps some people. And, there were embassy workers and, and New York Times writers who were like, just freaking out about it. And India is so backwards and terrible, and look at the pollution. Don't let the hysteria freak you out.
Yeah. Random is the key word there. It's
something that needs to be fixed.
Yes,
but
it is sad, but it doesn't keep us from going out of our house.
Someone else asked, us tying into this gun control, do you think gun control should learn from Australia's gun control? No, America shouldn't. America was founded with guns. That's how we revolted against Britain. It's a different situation, and you try to apply one thing that works one place to another thing that works to another place with an entirely different culture. It's not going to work.
Every time they are gotten illegally.
Almost every time.
So gun control is not the problem. Sadly, in the world we live in today, if they want it, they're going to get it, and they're going to get it illegally.
Right.
No gun control laws are going to change that.
They're not. And here's the thing. This is a Pandora's box. That's what's happened with guns. You cannot erase the idea of a gun from the human mind. And now we have 3D printing. People are 3D printing guns. You outlaw the AR-15, someone can print an AR-15B, 15.01.
So you want responsible people to have access to guns. It's hard. So it's kind of like, okay, bear with me. I think this is a decent comparison. Delhi rape. Right. Rape happening in Delhi. That did not scare me as an American from going outside of my house in Delhi.
Right.
And so I feel like you as an Indian living over here in America, the mass shooting shouldn't scare you from going out of your house. thing
But
that
because the
happens.
media only talks about these things and nothing else, like that, my grandfather almost disowned me the first time I went to India because he saw one program on some stupid news show that said that Indians worshipped rats, and they showed pictures of some temple somewhere where they worship rats, and so he just decided all of India worships rats, and that, and this was an educated man, I mean, he worked in Washington. He was press secretary for Alabama senator for 18 years. We're not talking about an idiot here, but he was manipulated by the stupidity of media that only focuses on these if it bleeds, it leads stories.
So, gun control is that bandage. Like not doing crackers at Diwali.
Is
That's
the bandage.
a band-aid.
It's a token
for,
stance.
for Delhi pollution. And gun control is a band-aid answer for gun control and mass shootings.
The terrorists who did 9/11 didn't have guns. And they had stuff that wouldn't make it on the planes now. And the TSA has, heightened security like crazy. But they could do it with twine. They could do the same thing with twine that they did with box cutters back then. Again, like this is what we're kind of going back earlier about the free speech thing. Like if you keep trying to clamp down on everything and give all the power to some godly state as if they somehow know better than you or me, which I don't agree with at all. That's a religion, in my opinion, believing that human beings that are other than you are going to be, capable of making the decisions the little people can't make. Then you start absolving more of this power, freedom of speech, freedom, right to bear arms, any of these sorts of things. I think it ends up creating a problem, and the evil goes underground. Again, it's only the people who are breaking the rules that are going to get the guns. As far as like the fear, I would say, we don't live in fear. I just don't think about it. And
I don't think it should stop you. And I don't think it should stop you from making friends and going out places. Like it's one of those. No, it's like Delhi rape. Like, I shouldn't not go out and have Indian friends in Delhi because rape happens in Delhi. Like, it's that.
All right, so this one by Flying Tank. So he says, don't make your channel bashing for reaction haters, mostly because hate is not nice. So, yeah, there was some scorn, some mockery, derision in our tone.
Yes.
And so we are sorry. You make a compelling case for why the reaction crowd exists. However,
we're real people and we want to be honest with you. And it hurts that Jabby has been able to make it doing what he's doing when we lived in India for 5 years and loved that country so much and gave so much of ourselves to share that with others, and that we didn't make it. It hurts. It does. I am bitter to Jabby about that. And it gets exposed, obviously, like you see here in our comments, like how I talk about Jabby is because it hurts that that we did what we did and that it didn't make it. And you know what? Lots of people fail. And so I have to accept that. And I'm sorry that my bitterness towards him does come out, and I'm sorry. And it's true. I don't want to hate on reaction lovers. If you're a reaction lover and you're here with us, then welcome. You are welcome. We want to have you here, and we want to be friends with you, and we want to have a conversation with you. So I'm sorry for being bitter, but it still hurts. We're still wounded animals.
And the same thing happens to me, like when, all my friends and family are like loving Lindsey Sterling as a violinist. Like I started my channel before Lindsey did, and she just catapulted past me, and she's, out in the stratosphere now.
We were very passionate about the videos and the quality of videos that we made.
Right.
And it is, right? YouTube is this weird thing where like sometimes you can make it doing that kind of stuff, and then sometimes it's just too much.
And so in this meantime, we do want to work on that, on our bitterness. We're trying to work on that on a lot of places, but everywhere I go, guys, people just say to me, oh, Ford, well, people aren't going to understand that. And just this assumption that everyone's an idiot. Like, I'm just sick of that. Bollywood, its very industry is built on that assumption that everyone's an idiot. And so much of Hollywood is too. It's just everyone's an idiot. Like, I hate that idea. This just sort of reduction to everything should just be placid and perfunctory. No, forget that. Like, I'm not that guy. So I will go down being the guy that believes that people can be smarter, people can try harder, and that we can have a better conversation on YouTube than just patting each other on the back. YouTube doesn't have to be trite. So
anyway, that was a lot that kind of strayed off of, I don't know. Anyway, Flying Tank, I hope that you stick with us, and I hope that you watch our videos and that you like our videos. And if you don't, and that's okay. And we know, and that's the thing, like, I'm not going to watch iDubbbz. This fella here is going to watch iDubbbz. I can't handle him.
Right.
So, like, every YouTuber is not for everybody, and so
Right.
we're not for everybody, and that's okay.
And I'm
no
not
ill will.
and I'm not saying the jury is out on like what Lindsay does or what Jabby does. Like they're good. I think they're both good people. It's just
Right?
I
I'm
don't
sure
like the
they're nice.
content.
I'm sure they're nice.
And I don't want to be forced to have. I don't want to be forced into a mold that they have made. Hopefully we'll find a middle ground where there's some property that we come up with in the future that will be something that we all can get behind. That can appeal to all of these different levels, I guess. And so that's what we're trying to kind of tease out from these conversations here. I'm sorry for the bad attitude.
Sorry for our bitterness.
But we are working on it. But
it still hurts.
I mean, it's been a year and it just still...
It's our broken dream, and it takes a while to grieve that dream and to come back from it. And we are working on building a better us.
Presto changeo.
It's like a Bollywood movie.
Yeah.
Magical wardrobe change.
One more thing we didn't get to everything that was on the subreddit. We're still 20 minutes just on the subreddit.
Are too big. We can't anymore, buddy. You gotta accept that fact.
So what we're probably gonna have to start doing, guys, now that we have 100 users here in the subreddit, because I do want to respond to at least a couple YouTube comments.
Type them out like in the old days, feller.
Or you can also bump things that you really like. So if there's somebody's link that you'd like to see us respond to, that's what Reddit's really for, is to be able to, bump the stuff to the top of a subreddit so that gets noticed most. Keep it coming, but let's try to get some conversation going in the subreddit and get 46 more people. So Melissa will join, and I'll get Reddit installed on her phone. You can be responding all the time, Melissa. We did want to respond to this one by Hemat Pundit. Oh no, he removed it.
I guess you watched it.
I didn't see it in time.
Oh,
so sorry, Hemant. Hope you didn't think that we abandoned you there. We just hadn't gotten to it yet. So we normally record these on Monday. We want to have them up by Monday midday. U.S. time. Well, we'll look at some of the... so, yeah, if you have keep the video up. We'll respond. Trinity A has posted quite a few links. Haven't gotten to them, Trinity. What I'm thinking I might do is might actually make bookmarks of some of these. Narendra Modi Zindabad says, Rohan, how old is he?
4.
Char. The cycling guitarist gave us a couple links there. One would be good for Building a Better Me. So we should take a check on that. Rishabh Jain asks, any plans for a reunion with Rachel and the other guys? That would be fun. That would be fun.
Hold on, sorry. Oh, I know. We keep talking. We keep saying that we're going to have a Delhi reunion.
So we have, Rishabh also asked about Osho, what we think about him. We have had questions about him before. I've never read his stuff. I've watched some of his stuff. Interesting character, that guy.
You remember Mr. Jain from Noida? He was a big
he was a big
fan.
Osho fan, yeah.
He talked with Ford about Osho.
So yeah, I watched some of his stuff. That could be, you're right, I could do probably a whole video on that. Amal Mishra says, I still remember approximately 2 years ago seeing you hanging out in Delhi with family somewhere. I don't remember where. No way. That's cool.
Awesome. Always come up and say hi if you find yourself in Panama City, Florida.
That was one of the fun parts about being in Delhi, just bumping into people every now and then. Trinity A asks, have you guys ever been to Jaipur or Choki Dunny?
Ford made a great video.
Right, the Pink City. Look it up. Surfing Violinist, the Pink City. We went back and watched it kind of for inspiration for our new series we're working on. And we stand by that one.
It's
Both
good.
of us like that one.
It's good. Oh my gosh, the Lassi Walla. You just have to, he's so cute.
Yeah, this is a good lassi too. Good stuff. Rational Dude says, nothing like a good samosa with chai,
Man, no. You know what? Pakore and chai.
Yeah.
Oh, yum. I mean, I hate making fried food because it's just such a messy thing. So I'm not going to make my own pakore.
Ashok says, prayers for your father's health. Take care.
Hey,
he's doing
home.
A lot better, yeah.
Yeah, he's actually discharged from the hospital and back home, so that's good.
Oh, okay. Parikshit Rawat says,
thank you.
Well, Meri do Anmol means my two precious gems.
There you go.
Man, this is TikTok has a very good question. That one's too long for the end of this video. Keep asking that one. Maybe post it in the subreddit. McShweezy asks what I think of Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm not the biggest fan. He's smarter than me. I do believe that. But I was actually more of a fan of Stephen Jay Gould. I think he was one of those kind of philosophers of science that happened back in the day. And I read some of his essays in a book that he'd written. And even though I didn't agree with him on everything, I thought he was he was just more diplomatic in his way of presenting it to people who might disagree with him. Whereas there's kind of become a meme with Neil deGrasse Tyson on Twitter. Like he'll be like, actually, horses don't walk on their hind legs. Like he'll say these kind of obvious things that people are like, yeah, I know. It's not what I meant. Like, he kind of intentionally just makes people look dumb. And I'm not the biggest fan of Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I do understand, his appeal. And he's a really smart guy. He's really smart.
And you want my 2 cents on these topics? I don't even know who this person is.
You don't know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is? Are you serious? No. Oh my God.
This is why I can't give my opinion on these types of things. Because I just live with my head in a hole in the ground, obviously.
Jeez Louise, you really don't know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is?
Mike Tyson? I know who that is.
Oh my gosh.
I suppose that I probably do care. I just don't know. This is why I don't have to care because he does. I just let him do the caring on this.
All right.
Stuff.
Gaurav says 47,000 subs might not seem like a lot, but always know each of those people dearly love and cherish you and your beautiful family and have a strong sense of loyalty. Well, thank you for entertaining and informing us with your invigorating content. I hope you'll continue to do so for a long time to come. Best of luck for all your exciting ventures in the future. Peace out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very encouraging.
And that's what we want. We'd rather have less subs and more loyalty than...
We've really appreciated just in this last month, just having these kind of conversations. And so we'd like to keep that going, whatever that looks like. And we do, eventually what we want really is just to focus in on the quality. Like try to get the quality right now, production-wise, not the greatest quality, but I think the quality of conversation is good. And
quality of conversation.
We're getting a lot of feedback here, and we do want to get into a better routine flow, and so that's what we're trying to discover here. So
Jugalbandi is an Indian classical is it an instrument? What?
Instrumental or vocal duet featuring 2 solo artists.
So kind of like The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Not really. No, not like that at all. No, more like George Harrison and Ravi Shankar collaborating on stage. So thank you, Sachin, for that.
Can you just edit out that part?
No, that's in.
Oh, gosh.
Nitin says, some of the best videos I've watched on your channel apart from American Indian were your movie reviews, especially covering some of the good Bollywood movies that came out in the last decade. That is true, but
One day.
Yeah, I don't know. We're just not watching anything. Like we barely watch anything.
Nobody got time for that.
Samir says, want you back in India, in Delhi, in Holocaust Village.
That would be awesome.
I would
live not the party life, but I would love to open my window and look out onto.
Love it. I love that place.
Holocaust Village. That would be amazing.
I mean, it is a hipster paradise, but we got a little hipster in us. So, Sonu Varghese mentions Tampa, Florida, as a great hub for Indian Americans.
Hey,
they
did
cool.
The Bollywood Awards several years back.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
Tampa.
about that. Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
Obviously, it's a hub.
I actually do have some family down there, so if we could make it down there, lots of good video recommendations in the comments. Sundance Cassidy recommends a BBC show called In Our Time, a podcast. Several topics on Hinduism in an academic environment. Check it out. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I will do that. Do it right now before I forget.
I watched this show called W1A on Netflix, and it is hilarious. It's like a comedy about the upper management of BBC. Hilarious. I loved it. I watched all the seasons twice.
Oh, Lakshmi from October 6, 2016. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, one on Tagore. Yeah, man, they've been doing this for a while. Hindu Ideas of Creation. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. So, yeah, I've downloaded a couple of those. Oh, Shubham said that he thinks when he's saying Mere Do Anmol Ratan, he was talking about us, not the movie.
I have to go.
My 2 precious gems. Oracle says, we are what our deep driving desire is. As our deep driving desire is, so is our will. As our will is, so is our deed. As our deed is, so is our destiny. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad.
There you go.
That's a pretty cool little parable there. Furzy09 says, check Andrew Cohen, who lived years in India and talks on life and enlightenment. This vid is the core essence of it. Basically about things like yoga and meditation taking you from negative to zero, but not yet into positive territory. I think probably, again, we'll try to figure out some of this as we go along. We're flying by the seat of our pants here. But I think what I might do is like create a Google sheet or spreadsheet, and where I can just put a lot of these links. And
pretty much there's no way you can watch all the links
I mean, I can watch them.
Yeah,
like,
you can watch
during the week. You
Yeah.
know, it's just I just need to have to start setting
Yeah.
time aside, not just when we sit here and
Yeah.
respond to the comments.
Yeah.
And I've been reading the comments through the week, but just I don't always have time in the middle of the day to watch them. Sorry we didn't get to everyone, but we are at the point where it has reached critical mass. If you would really like stuff to be responded to, please put them in the India Connection subreddit. Start voting for your favorite things. We're going to get to a point probably where we'll have a limit on how much we can do. So we're trying to fit as many as we can here at the beginning as we sort of blunder about trying to figure out what we're doing. So until next time, keep it creative, keep it cross-cultural, and keep it constructive, YouTube. Thank you for your patience with us, and thank you for watching.